Well, hello, I'm Michael Tingley. I'm the gallery director at Art's Illiana Gallery. And what I want to do tonight is take you through a little walkthrough on our opening, what would be our opening reception for Desiderata. Unfortunately, we usually get at least 150 people. Sometimes, well, our Crow show, we had 200 people at our opening reception. And as you all know, our paradigm shift a little bit here. Doesn't seem to be possible that we'll have anybody live at the opening for a while. So here we are. I'm going to take you through and show you our exhibition. Our exhibition has been guest curated by a wonderful artist from the UK, Shelley Windebank, and I'll be showing you her work as we enter the gallery. So here we go. So as we walk into Art's Illiana Gallery, we see our North Gallery first. And our guest curator is Shelley Windebank. And as typical of our exhibitions, we have guest curators, and we give them a solo exhibition here in the North Gallery. And I'll take you through here, and you can see a wonderful assortment of work that Shelley has sent us from the UK. I'll give you a little bit of a view here. It's not going to be perfect because there's going to be a lot of reflection, but you get an idea. This is called The Secret's Out. It's a laser print on paper. Next to it is another laser print, Ambidextrous Symmetries. And as we come around here, I'll show you a few more of her pieces. Another lovely little print here, A Voyage of Fantasy. She has sent us a really interesting assortment of work. Here's Ambidextrous Symmetries again. Another version of that. I apologize for the reflection. I will be posting the catalog on the website, and you'll be able to see images, all of these images, without the reflections. But to give you a little bit of an idea of what it would be like to walk through here today, I'll show you her work, Crest of Iliac. If any of you have had any issues with your lower back, you might be able to identify with this piece. Here's one of the original pieces she sent us after Rorschach. It's a collage of paper. Another lovely little print. If you can see it, ignore my reflection. Let's see, I can get in a little bit here. Past tense. And then she's got a really interesting series here. Let me back up. First, you can see there's a series of 6 images here that are all labeled Archive of the Irregular. I'll come in and show you really interesting, very theatrical, mask-like pieces. An interesting variation, each one, on a very dramatic representation of a face. I love these. Having dabbled a little bit in theater the last couple of years, I'm fascinated by this idea of showing all the variations on facial expressions. Another beautiful little print. Let's see if I can get in and see if you can see some of the detail in that. Ancient Stories. Interesting that there's like a cloud of vapor exiting the mouth. The red overcoat, and it looks like I'm wearing it. Again, I'll post the catalog online, and you'll be able to see all these images without reflections. You can pan around a little bit here. You can get an idea of what the North Gallery looks like. And here's two more prints that I can identify with. Icarus. I love these little guys. Icarus and Icarus 2. And we also have some prints in the print rack. Here's a really interesting series of prints called Transient Times. Let me see if I can get out of the light a little bit, get a little better view. Really interesting series. Got several of those in our print rack here. And some more of the Rorschach series. His original collage. So we have a fascinating collection of samples of work from Shelley Windebank from the UK, our guest curator. And you can easily imagine in the past, this room filled with 100 people. So I'll walk through and we'll show you the rest of the show. Here's our main gallery and our exhibition, Desiderata. As you walk into the gallery, the first piece you see, and I'll give you a little bit of an overview. Try to stay out of the sun. First piece to look at here is Portrait of Max Ehrmann with commentary by Rod Bradfield. I'll try to get out of the reflection. There, you can see him a little better. Interesting. Rod works very three-dimensionally. You can see some of the textured pieces he has on the front, as well as the image. All right, we'll pass around through here. Let me see if I can stay in the shadow for a while while the sun sets. There's two pieces on this wall. The sculpture above is called Recension by George Pfister. And the acrylic on canvas below is by Eric Tonzola from Pennsylvania. Rod, by the way, and George Pfister are from here in Indiana. We've got work from 6 states and Canada. Here's a lovely painting by Bailey Reinhold called The Edge of Everything, oil on panel. Dreams of Rebirth by Caroline Heath, another Indiana artist. Mixed media. Several of these paintings and drawings are mixed media. When I post the catalog, all of the materials will be listed. But many of them have 5 or 6 different materials, so we just consider that mixed media for the sake of our labels. Piece below it, lovely photograph printed with solid ink by Kathy Laska, another Indiana artist. This piece is called The Unfolding Universe. Next, the bigger piece here, What Love Is, by Lucas Patterson, Indiana artist. It's acrylic on canvas with string and feathers. I think I can see pretty much the whole thing. There you go. And I'll give you a little close-up view. You can see the very interesting way he has stitched his canvas together, as well as added string and feathers. Fascinating. I love the idea of the stitched canvas. Next to that, a lovely photo composite called This Place by Brian Miller. Again, it's tough to see. Let me see if I can get a little bit of that reflection out of there. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of sun right now. But you get an idea. Each one of these lovely photographs composed together. Photo montage. Lovely landscapes. This Place by Brian Miller, Indiana artist. Another piece by Carolyn Heath, oil on canvas paper. Let's see if I can get a little bit of that reflection out of there. There you get a little better idea of what it looks like. And another photo printed with solid ink called Surrender by Kathy Laska. Get a little bit of that reflection out of there. There you go. Next to it here, lovely self-portrait called Self-Portrait Back Home in Indiana by Lyle Ann Musselman. Acrylic on canvas. And below that, you've got, let me get the reflection out of there. Beautiful little ink on paper by Joanne Fiskus, Indiana artist, called Chilling at the Corner of Noise and Haste. You can see the street signs, Noise and Haste, and the school bus that her husband Bruce and their grandson are waiting for. The bus called Go Placidly. All right. Next, on this wall, we've got a piece from Gretchen Steele from Illinois. Nest Box Containment. It's a screen print on paper. Below it is a photo montage called Scenic Route. Photographs in inkjet on paper by Cassandra Cook, another Indiana artist who happens to be teaching at ISU right now. And there's a piece up above. Let me get back a little bit. Get the idea of that. It's a piece called Human Frailty Untethered by Carol Estes, Indiana artist. Let me come in. You can see some of the detail. There, that's pretty good without too much reflection. It's mixed media. Below that is a piece called Home Improvement by Michael Tingley. One of my pieces. It's mixed media, All kinds of stuff on there. Found photographs, found images, found prints, on a found print. One little ink drawing of an upturned car. And then some writing. Another piece from Gretchen Steele from Illinois, Moon Nest Cycling. This is a screen print and actually collaged as well. Below it is another piece by Cassandra Cook, In Between Honey. Another photo montage. Let me zoom in here and see if some of the details, all these lovely little prints, kind of an interesting narrative. A lot of stories there. Okay, come back around here. A digital collage by Shayla Fish. Lovely. Look at all the detail in there. Regrowth by Shayla Fish, Indiana artist. Below it is a piece by Gary Thomas, an Illinois artist, a woodcut print. A lot of reflection. Again, I will have all of these images online on the catalog without my reflection in them. But you get an idea here. It's called Winter Silence. All right, we'll swing back around here. We get a view of this particular wall. Part of the fun that I get to do as the gallery director is compose each of these walls. After all of the work is chosen by our guest curator, in this case, Shelley Windebank. But it's been a lot of fun for me to put together the pieces, figuring out which pieces might look good together. And I hope I've succeeded at least a little bit. There's a lot of reflection in there, I'm sorry, but let's see if I can, Yeah, it's pretty hard to see. We'll come back to this as the sun sets a little further. There'll be a little less reflection in that. But we can focus on the acrylic on canvas with stitching and string. Another piece by Lucas Patterson, Indiana artist. I'll come back to those two black and white photographs by Alan Morris, a Wisconsin artist. Once the sun is about to go behind that building. So this wall, we've got a digital photo on canvas by Brian Bromstrup, Indiana artist, called Valley Road Tripping. And I didn't think to turn on this video, but there's a video from Cassandra Cook. There we go. It's called Summer's Fading. It's a video by Cassandra Cook. Interesting travel log of sorts. There's a little less reflection. Coming back home to Indiana. Goes on for about 5 minutes. Next to that is this triptych by Natalie Sobo. It's acrylic on canvas. It's called I Love You in the Morning, Afternoon, and in the Evening. Natalie Sobo is one of the Canadian artists who sent this work from Ontario. And then moving right along, Inked in Repose by Carol Estes, Indiana artist. Another mixed media piece. Interesting 3D twist on that bark. Inked in Repose by Carol Estes. Coming over here, an aluminum sculpture, cast and welded aluminum, called Ozius by Tom LePan from Missouri. And if we look up, I see this piece called Icarus, Daedalus, and Me, Night Flying. It's by me, and I've always wondered, if you don't know the myth about Icarus and Daedalus, Daedalus was a scientist. They were confined to a maze, prisoners. And Daedalus, brilliant guy that he was, came up with the idea of gluing feathers to their arms with wax and flying up out of the maze. But the myth being a tale of the impetuousness of youth, Icarus, this guy right here, flew too high to the sun, too close to the sun, and the wax melted, feathers fell off, and he fell to his death. My plan was, when I've heard that myth, was why didn't they just fly at night? They could have flown as high as they wanted to. So that's me, the old bald guy, teaching them to fly at night. Another sculpture by Michael Tingley. This is called Flight Dream. Being the only artist here, I get to tell you the story about it. When I was 7 years old, I was bullied and beat up by the neighborhood kids. So I designed an airplane. I was going to use a lawnmower engine, scraps of wood, and some metal ductwork. And I was going to fly over their heads and drop stuff on them to get my revenge. Well, I finally built the plane that I designed when I was 7 years old. And now it has a good set of wheels. Back to some more sculpture. Two beautiful pieces by Rob Millard Mendez. This piece is called Forest Bath Apparatus for a Child of the Universe. Rob Millard Mendez, wood, an Indiana artist. Amazing detail. Look at all these little trees. Some of these trees have 7 or 8 parts of wood, all sanded perfectly. Beautiful piece. And it's wearable. You can see these fit over the shoulders. The head comes up in the middle, and it's a wearable sculpture. Another piece by Rob Millard Mendez. Again, amazing, beautiful details. Whoop, there's the sun. Very, very skilled craftsman, Rob Millard Mendez. Beautiful woodworking. Brilliant sculpture idea. It's called The Sculptural Portrait of Kant, Living Virtuously, by Rob Millard Mendez, Indiana artist. Okay, let's come back around to this south wall and get an idea of the overview here again. I see Jerome Harsty has joined us. You can see his piece. I'll give you a close-up view of it. We'll come back around. And the sun is almost behind the building. By the time I get over there, it'll be down. All right, so on this south wall here, we've got another woodblock print by Gary Thomas, Illinois artist, called Shadow Self. Scratchboard called The Bride by Pamela Burrows, Indiana. Lots of really intense detail in there. Really good use of scratchboard. Love it. All that detail in there. Fine piece. Called The Bride, Pamela Burrows. And below it, lovely photograph called Car Wash Placidity by Susie Quick, Indiana artist. Love that. Another piece by Lyle Ann Musselman, Indiana. 3 poets. That's pastels. Lovely. I get such a good feeling, all those smiles. Sweet piece. Again, check it out on the catalog online. Without all of that, those white dots are not part of the piece. Let's see. That's even worse. Yeah. A lot of reflection today. All right, below it, Melancholia, graphite, and charcoal on paper. Beautiful drawing. Look at that. Detail. This is another one of our Canadian artists from Ontario, Carlos Eduardo Guerra Fentanes. Beautiful graphite and charcoal on paper without the crescent moon. All right, next to it, we've got a beautiful painting by Austin Roberts, another Indiana artist, recent graduate. This is called a plum. Oil on canvas panel. A lot of content there. Next to it is another piece by Austin Roberts. Let's see if I can get rid of some of that reflection so you can see some of the detail. It's beautiful intaglio print. Fine work. Look at how fine those lines are right there. Beautiful piece. Called Giddy. Austin Roberts. Next to it, we got this diptych from Canada again, Natalie Sobo. Sisters, do you remember? Is the title of this acrylic on canvas. Again, the detail is really fine. Look at all this color, the brilliance of it. Love that. Wow. Yeah. That brightens up the gallery for sure. All right, next to it, a little darker. I personally like dark. Ikebana Requiescat, another intaglio print by Austin Roberts. Again, look at the detail in there. Fine work. Wow. Lovely piece. Especially if you like dark. I do. Next to it, another painting by Austin. Another oil on canvas panel. Esprit de l'escalier. He's a storyteller, this guy, Austin. A lot of content in these pieces. Now, what I do also, just to mention, on Instagram, I post every week during the exhibition 5 or 6 of the artists' work. And in this case, since we don't have an opening reception where artists get to explain their work a little bit, I will be asking for the artists to send me any short statement they have about the work before I post it, so that they can explain to the viewer some of the ideas behind the piece. I'll be sending out an email with the information about that this coming week. Here's a piece by Pamela Burrows. Get a little bit of that reflection away. There, it's a little better. It's called Uncle Frank and Dad. Interesting mixed media piece. Yeah, hi Tim. This is all your fault, you know. All right. Another piece by Carlos Eduardo Guerra Fentanes from Ontario. Let me see if I can get a little less of that reflection. Just ignore those white dots. There's a little better view of it. Ballpoint pen on paper called Stabat Mater. Beautiful, detailed piece. If you can see that. Fine work. Good stuff, Carlos. Yeah. Okay, another piece by Pamela Burrows, Indiana artist, called Drawn, even though it's oil on canvas. Obviously, drawn refers to the pencil. I love the layered effects. Lots going on there. And below it, another one of her scratchboard pieces called Tangled Web. Let me see if I can get in there. Yeah, again, look at the detail. There's a lot of little fine scratching going on in that scratchboard. Cool. Tangled Web, Pamela Burrows. All right, our last wall. This is a piece by Brian Bromstrup, oil on canvas, called Unfolding Universe. Brian is another Indiana artist. I think I got a little bit of reflection. Yeah. And below it, a photograph by Cassandra Cook. Let me get me out of there a little bit. You can see, I believe that is somewhere along Lake Superior. Yeah, cool. All right, let's see. The sun's coming down a little bit. Let me go back over here. Now that these are in the shadow, these photographs by Alan Morris. It's still got a lot of me. Let me zoom in here. You can see a little bit of the detail. Sorry, it's tough to see with all the reflection. Beautiful black and white photograph called ISO 139 SOC by Alan Morris, a photo and pigment print. Alan Morris is from Wisconsin. Sent us 5 photographs. Below that is gouache on paper, on black paper, called Protecting Our Sister by Bess Lee, Indiana artist. See if I can get my face out of there a little bit. Nah, that's kind of hard. There you go. You can see some of the detail in there. And we saw Lucas's piece. Here's another photograph. Get a little better view, a little less reflection on this one. Another one by Alan Morris from Wisconsin called ISO 239 Tower. And I love the detail in here. If I can, it's just really hard to see with the reflection. There you can see a little better view of some of the detail in there, those trees. I love that. And another gouache on black paper by Bess Lee. Again, this one is Saving Our Mother. Interesting. Okay, now we got the sun going down a little bit. I can get over here. Let's get a little more. Okay, there's another Alan Morris. Whoop, 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 whoop. Another photo from Alan Morris, Wisconsin. I gave you some of the detail you can see in there. It's called ISO 59, 9 Mile. Interesting detail. Step back, you can see a little better view of it. Below it is another piece by Rod Bradfield, Indiana. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste. Mixed media. Pretty clear distinction between the placidness and the noise. Get reflection a little bit out of there. You can see some of the details. Let's see. Here you go. Some of the detail in the water. A lot of brush strokes there, Rod. Good stuff. Look at that. I love the detail. All right, let's see. We got another piece over here that's in the shade. Yes, there we go. Morning, oil on canvas by Margot Bogue, another Indiana artist. Speaking of placidness, you can see some of the detail. Those beautiful impressionistic brushstrokes, bold color. Cool. Next to that is another piece by me. This piece is called Limited Engagement. Mixed media. I get to tell you a little bit about some of the mixed media. Recently, several of us have preserved some antique painted backdrops from the Hippodrome Theater in Terre Haute. This is an antique painted backdrop on canvas. You can see it's in pretty rough shape. It was stored, it's probably over 100 years old. You get a good view here of the brush strokes. This entire genre of painted backdrops, theatrical backdrops, is fascinating. And the Hippodrome Theater here in Terre Haute had quite a few. We believe, possibly, when it was being used as a vaudeville theater. So this particular piece of a backdrop, this is a piece of a backdrop that's 30 feet wide and 12 feet tall, but it was in such bad shape that I was able to salvage a few of the pieces of it. And then ink, pen and ink, audience, and then some inkjet prints of old drawings. A little bit narrative, mostly self-portrait ideas. And then fragments of an old theater lobby card. Limited engagement, exactly as originally presented. Nothing cut full length. Above it, photograph by Nathan Lynch. Yeah, we got, there. Thank you. We got most of the reflection out of that. It's called Ascendance. Nathan Lynch, another Indiana artist. And then one more by Alan Morris here, if we could get some of that reflection out of there. Yeah. ISO 215, Collins Marsh, by Alan Morris, Wisconsin. I can zoom in here and get some of the detail in the shadows. There you go. All right. I come back around here, the sun is going down, so we can see some of this wall. All right. It's another painting, second painting by Eric Tanzola from Pennsylvania, called Thermonolithic Anomaly. Thermonolithic Anomaly. Acrylic on canvas. Next to it are two little pieces by Marianne Mishna, Indiana artist. First one is Ritzy, a child of the universe. Photo on canvas. And the second one is Babyface, a child of the universe. And below it, in our little cat corner here, it's a piece called Peace by Kathy Laska. You can see, let me see, I can get, there you go, a little bit of the shadow reflections out of there. You can see a lovely little profile of her cat in the window. Then back on this wall, now that we have some shade, yes. Free to Choose, Acrylic on Canvas by Christine Johnson, Indiana artist. And below it, the last of the 5 pieces by Austin Roberts. Another intaglio print called Diffidence. Again, super fine detail in there. Lovely piece. There you go. All right. Jerry Harsty sent us, let me back up a little bit here. Jerry Harsty sent this lovely quilt with digital photographs on it. The piece is called Jerry's Goats. There you can see the whole piece. I'll zoom in on some of Jerry's goats. It's really, some of them are pretty funny. Good goats. $15 goats. Actually more, there's a couple of goats in some of them, so 15 separate panels within this quilt. Jerry Harsty, Indiana artist. And that's as low as I can go. Jerry's Goats by Jerry Harsty. All right. One more Alan Morris photograph. ISO 46 Okoboji. You can see if, yeah, there we go. The sun's almost gone. Get a better view of that. Below it is Strength of Spirit by Chris Schellenberg, Indiana. Lovely photograph on dye bond metal. Beautiful detail. I believe it's a portrait of her sister. Nice photograph. Okay, I think I got everything that's finally in the shade. Yeah, so this is Desiderata. We ended up with 67 works of art from 33 artists from 6 states and Canada, and then all of the work from the UK by Shelley Windebank. You get an idea of what the show's like. Now we're actually going to be open, limited hours. We're going to be open to the public Thursdays and Fridays from 10 until 5, and on Saturdays by appointment only. Saturdays by appointment via my email address, illianagallery@gmail.com. And maybe by the time this show comes down in November, we could have a closing reception with people. And again, I will be posting the catalog. I'm working on getting a 3D walkthrough view of the gallery, post that online. And on the catalog will be all the prices and dimensions and materials, all the details about the art. And I don't think I've left anything out. Last view of Max, and then one more quick view of the North Gallery. And I think we've pretty much got it covered. Again, North Gallery, filled with art by Shelley Windebank. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram, where I will post a little more detailed work and some detailed comments by the artists. And please feel free to email us any questions about any of the art, any of the artists. Another view of Shelley's work. All right. Nice assortment. All right, we made it. I hope that helped ease some of your loss of not being able to show up to the gallery and see the art and talk to the artists. We certainly miss all the good food that Sherry Wright provides and Susie Beeson provides and Jackie Bradfield provides. We always have a good spread. But for now, this is Desiderata, and this is Michael Tingley signing out. Thanks for showing up.